Talking to Dave Meggyesy about his book, which will be out when?
October, and it's Ramparts Press is doing the publication. They're in Berkeley, and I'm living out in Berkeley now, so we've got a nice relationship going.
They say that, well, you hear sometimes anyway, that a guy who is there on a football scholarship and is doing well can get away with just about anything he wants to and still stay in school. What are some of the what are some of the anythings he can get away with? How true is that?
We had one guy who threw a bowling ball out of an eight-story dormitory at the RA. The RA is a resident advisor. He's a guy that corrals the people. And he was apprehended because he was pretty juiced. And he said his only regret was that he didn't hit him. He and the guy. But he stayed there. He stuck. I mean, there are just various stories. I think you can get in kind of a war story thing of telling how bad a certain guy was, and Syracuse had its group.
Yeah. Don't a lot of guys think you're a traitor though to the cause, a Benedict Arnold to football? Why don't you just keep quiet and let us make a lot of money and some?
No, I really don't.
If you don't like it, get out.
No, I'll tell you why. Because after the season last year, Jack Scott, who has just been written up in Locus, the guru of Sports Revolution, I think you saw that piece. Jack was teaching a course at Cal Berkeley, and he invited me out to be a guest lecturer, and I went out and did that trip. But while I was doing that, I got to to talk to the scholarship football players. It was interesting because this course was run by a professor who believes that grades are totally irrelevant, and his idea is that learning something is the most important aspect of it, not the product, which is the grade. And so consequently, you could receive any grade that you wanted to. So there's a liaison man in the Cal Athletic Department that any free courses like this, he'll shoot great numbers of ball players to. So we had a captive audience of about 20 guys, 20 football players. And I was able to rap to them, and I found out that just the opposite, that their gripes and the way that they've been psychologically kind of run over in high school and college, that they really feel what's happening. They really feel that they're being kind of outsiders now. They feel their exploitation, and they want a platform for articulation. And I was really anticipating, they were going to waylay me in the parking lot or something. We're going to have a battle, but just the opposite.
People assume that jocks are generally right-wingers in some sense. I mean, I'm oversimplifying everything here, but it's surprising. There have been a lot of things lately where I think 66 players protested on Columbia alone, on their team, protested the Cambodia invasion.
Last year we had the Cardinals. I did a petition last season for the October 15th moratorium. We had 37 guys sign it, calling for immediate withdrawal of troops in Vietnam. And so I don't think that always holds true, but you can kind of assume that it's true, and I think that most people do assume that football players are right-wingers because they feel kind of intuitively of what kind of values that football is trying to teach people. And football is that kind of a game for the participant and for the spectator.
What would you do about it?
What would I do about it to change it? I really don't know.
You don't want it eliminated from the scene, do you?
Well, I don't know, Dick. I'm really, in a dilemma on that, and to be very frank about it. I certainly would de-emphasize it and attempt to return the game as such to the players, to let them have the decision-making. One of the things that I don't think the Players Association ever realized, but we could have had a football season this year without the owners. The Players Association could have contracted with probably some TV network, hired the stadiums, and played football. And
I think they settled that just before we went on.
Right, I haven't seen the paper today, so I don't really know either.
What makes a bad coach?
What makes a bad coach? I found it interesting that the worst coaches are the guys who've never done the trip. And
does that mean played the game?
Never played the game, right? And they're just very heavy people, and they're on a vicarious authoritarian trip, and they just want to see you perform, and they just love to see you hit. And we do up in training camp a drill we call the Oklahoma drill, where, like, my position as linebacker, I'd be getting across from a tight end. They have a back behind him, and then two dummies. Okay, and the purpose is to annihilate the guy over you, my purpose, and then tackle the guy. And his purpose is to block me out of the way, and so the ball carrier can run by me. And coaches really get it on doing that, watching it. They really get behind it. Players don't necessarily do, but...
I like the names I think Schwartzwalder sounds like a coach.
Beautiful name, yeah, right.
Lombardi sounds like one, but Weeb Eubank, how do you explain that? I mean, that just... Well, would you ever become a player again under any circumstances?
No, I don't. I've had it as I've done 7 years in the league, and
you did very well. You were making good money.
Making good money.
So they can't say you weren't.
Also ran, right. But as Chip Oliver, and Chip is the Oakland Raider outside linebacker who quit, and Chip's living in a commune over in Marin County in California. The mustard seed, Janice may know about it. Yeah. And he's really a far-out guy. He's a very together person. And he told Al Davis, the GM, he said, listen, you treat me like a man and I'll play. I really want to play. I like to play football. But I can't put up with, the bull crap, that you have to go through in training camp.
Bull feathers.
Bull feathers, right.
Imagine lying around Marin County, being nice to people and having people be nice to you is a lot better than kicking the hell out of people.
I don't know.
It's a different trip, right, Janice?
It just sounds like more fun to me.
Yeah, it is.
Right? I don't know if I question the idea that you can't.
That is better than that, right?
Right.
That is better than that.
That is better than that.
I'm learning a lot here tonight, I must say.
Then all sports would have to go.
No, I don't think so.
Ice hockey is pretty rough.
Yeah, it is pretty rough, but
I'm not talking about.
There's something special about football, you're saying.
Well,
though.
yeah. Let me just run a rap down.
Can you do it in 30 seconds?
Yeah, the speciality of football is that inherent in the structure of the game, there has to be a physical confrontation where one person has to defeat another in most positions. No other sport is like that. Hockey isn't like that either. The raison d'etre for hockey is to get the puck in the net. Boxing, right. And I'm talking about team sports and major sports in this country, right.
Did you have trouble finding a publisher?
Well, I did. Interestingly, I did. Because I contacted some of the major houses here in New York, and they kind of turned me down, and Ramparts Press gave me, I guess it's considered a small advance, and I did the book. Simon & Schuster's doing the national distribution, so we're going to get good coverage on it. And I'm very pleased with the way it's going.
Are there any professional athletes who aren't writing a book this year?
Yeah, I don't know. It's the year for them. I guess Johnny Sample's doing it, too.
We have a message. We'll be right back. Cavett is scared of women. Hides behind his wit like a brave coward with the face of a cowboy hero, a two-fisted pixie. Blah! Tomorrow night, Mort Saul, Rosalind Drexler, and critic John Simon, and any two-fisted pixies that we can scrape up. Thank you, Miss Swanson, for being here. And thank Janis Joplin, Margot Kidder, and Dave Meggyesy. We'll see you tomorrow night.
Fat boy speaking. Good night.